Welcome to a new video from Dr. Locke. Okay, what we are looking at is an ITL key machine. This is a key code cutting machine, and we got this one in actually just to have a look at the ITL and just to figure out how it works, see the difference between this and a HPC and some of the other code machines such as the HPC Code Max and other key machines like that. We've had other locksmiths say, oh, they're worth their weight in gold, they're a brilliant machine, excellent machine. So the opportunity came up to actually purchase one, so we did. So now we're going to go through and find out actually how to use it, what its benefits are, what its drawbacks are, and then we're going to do a few videos on them. So first of all, it came as it is, exactly as it is, and once we're finished reviewing it, we'll probably just put it back on the market if anyone else is interested in it. If you're an ITL fan, leave a comment, it will be up for sale. This particular model here is the ITL 900. Now there's some really interesting things about this machine that made it worthwhile actually purchasing to see what it can do. First thing about it is that if you spin it around the back here, you'll see that you got a negative and a positive on the back, which is excellent because that simulates that that shows that it can actually do 12 volt. Looking down on the barcode down here, it says AC 240 at 2 amp, DC 12 volt at 4 amp. So that's not a huge power draw. The next thing that was interesting about this machine was that it has COM ports on the back, your standard printer port, and it also has your standard sort of COM port as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what software does work with this machine and what software doesn't work with this machine. I mean, it's old, but it's not that old. The new model I think is the ITL 950. Very similar, just they move this over there and blah blah blah. But it's going to be interesting to see how it stands up, how it'll work in a vehicle, because we'll run it off 12 volt and also off 240 volt. One thing I have noticed on powering it on is that when you plug it in using the 240 volt plug, it powers up the screen, but to actually initialize the cutter you do need to swing around and flick this switch on. Not really a fan of that. I prefer to have something out of the way. I don't like to lean over the machine, but they've done that. HPC did that as well. So that's just one thing that I've noticed as it is so far. Looking at it side on, okay, as far as size of this machine, I guess we can go over that now. I'll just grab my ruler. Okay, so how big is this thing? I've got a 600mm ruler here. I'm judging from the first notch over here. We'll bring it over to about there. So including these terminals on the back, I'm up to about 420, but I'd say 430 just to give you enough room for your power things. 430 large. We swing it around this way. If I'm going left to right, I'd be looking about 330. 330, let's say 340, let's give it an extra 10mm. So basically that gives you an idea when you're mounting in a vehicle. Now I have seen these mounted in a lot of locksmithing vehicles, so it's interesting to see why they like this particular type of machine. The next thing about it is that it is meant to have rotating jaws. At the moment, can't really work out how to do that. If you do have a user manual or software for this machine, I'd appreciate if you could send it through. Mail at drlock.com.au, mail at drlock.com.au. Until we get that, we've emailed the manufacturer for all the information on it, so then we can do the full review on it. But just looking over the machine as it is, it doesn't seem too bad. It seems like a good code machine. There's a few questions I have with this type of machine, such as the jaws. Is there cradles? Is this a rotating jaw that can do Medico? Can you add adapters like the HPC can? Can you do Tibi? Things like that. All those sorts of things I'd like to really cover. Also, does it have electronic touch, where when it touches the key it can actually know where the key is and know if it's going to go, what it's actually cutting off the key. Does it have that? Is it, I think they call it electromagnetic control or so, but let's first find out if it actually does have that. I'm not too sure if it does or doesn't. This video is just to have a look over it and to, from what I can see from Locksmith's point of view and a perspective on this machine, to relay back to you so you can evaluate the machine as it is. Weight on it, probably good 20 kilos, 25 kilos. The cradle right here, solid mild steel. This part right here of the machine is made up of a tubular type of RHS, or rolled hollow steel. And I'll show you something that I found quite interesting, was that if you lift it up here, you can see the guts. You look straight down there. Now I can see a power supply, which is pretty good. You're going to need one of them going from 240 down to 12. I can see some little wires down there. They don't look too bad. I also see a couple of bolts here where somebody's actually bolted it through in their van, most likely. Other than that, it's I can't really see too much more through there. Would have been nice to actually have that closed off. I don't know why you'd have it exposed. I guess it was cheaper for manufacture. Looking over this side of the machine, I can see you've got your bolts here. If you want to change the belt, you just simply undo them, back and forwards, change your belt. That's great, nothing there. A little bit of surface rust there, so manufacturing, not too good. This one has a scratch, nothing major there. It came with a 240 volt plug, but somebody's obviously changed it, so it must have come suited for probably UK, and then they've changed it over to Australia. Here I can see a massive weld, and I can see another bit of mild steel. So really they've got jigs. They just weld them all up, build these machines up, and that's the way they go. Needs a bit of a lubricate, lubricate and a clean. That's fine. The shoulder guide here, that's interesting. One thing I'm noticing is there's no kind of tip stop. I'm not too sure about that. The jaw, when I back it off here, when I put the key in, I can see my key can float all the way right down to the back, so I'm not picking up any bottom shoulder there. I don't know why. Perhaps this machine will have electronic touch, where it touches the key and knows where it is, and then it starts from there. But on saying that, you can kind of insert it on just about any angle, and just about any angle, and clamp it down. So it's going to be very interesting to see on how that actually works. Could be something new that we haven't seen on various other machines. One cutter, it looks to me like it's the same type of angle as what you'd see as the M14 cutter on a HPC. Sorry, M1101 I think it is, the one you use for all your disc type locks and car keys. From what I've read so far, it seems like you can use one cutter for all of it, which is pretty good, just like the Silka type of machines. But yet I'm yet to find out more information on that. Looking over the actual handles and things like that, very robust, nice screw thread, good feed, left and right, no problems, good control where you need it, right at the front, which is excellent. When I power this machine on, one thing we did find was the keyboard wasn't working, so we flipped it over, had a look, and found, sure enough, one of the ribbons was actually slightly moved out. So we just pushed that back up in there, and now the keyboard works. From what we can gather so far on this machine, this is not the user manual on it. I've only seen this machine for a few hours, so don't quote me on it. But at the moment, it's telling us to move the vise left and right. Well, it's telling us to move the vise towards the cutter. That's what it says there. Move the vise away from the cutter. Move the vise to the left. Still moving. Okay, now it says manufacturer 257, insert 2, flat 4. So I believe that's what the standard it kind of boots up as. From what I've seen so far, I believe that's Slage. You can put in your own manufacturer's codes and things like that and go from there. There is a whole different list compared to compared to HPC and compared to Silka. ITL have their own list. So the list, I'm not too sure where, but when we do get it, I will try and put it on the website, so that if anyone else is looking for the list of manufacturers, space and depth, you can just look it up from there. So for now, I'll just push manufacturer. It will go clear. Okay, move vise towards cutter. We're doing that. Move vise away from cutter now. Move it to the right. Move it to the left. So there's something that's going on there which actually recalibrates, which is an interesting type of thing that's happening. One size I didn't give you was how high this thing is. Okay, this is bench. I'm sitting on the bench. We're looking about 220, but I'd say 230 to give you a little bit of extra room, and that's not including this screw thread right here. You can actually put in your manufacturer's space and depth using the ITL code. At the moment it's on 527, so if I can work out how to do that, let's try 530. And there doesn't seem to be an enter button, which confuses me quite a bit, so I'm really going to have to read the instructions on this. I'll try manufacturer again. Insert 1 flat 3. Okay, let's push manufacturer again. No, let's try code. No code set. Okay, code too long. No code set. Code too long. Okay, that seems to be the code. Cut. And now it seems to be ready. So you got space and depth, S and B. So I'm not too sure what they are. Maybe the more I turn it, that's what it is. The more I turn it, the less these black dots actually are. Okay, so I've run out of black dots now, and if I look very closely here, I can see as I move it, it actually counts. So if I'm off the mark, okay, let's take it to 0, 0, 0, see what happens here. Okay, 0, 0, 0, and depth. We'll turn it on. So depth has 2 bars at the moment, and now we're at -3. So depth and space seem to be perfect, but my key is probably about 5 mil away. Not sure what we're meant to do now. Okay. And as I move it left and right, I can see a little squiggly line going between 2 boxes here. So that must indicate when we're actually on dead center. Let's try touching it. Try touching the key. Okay, we touch the key, and it's telling us it's 0.23 out on the spacing, sorry, on the depth. So it's got a different system to HPC and Silka. Completely different. I'm sure if you get used to it, you would be able to use it quite efficiently. But until we actually get the instructions, and until we get the software and all those sorts of things, it's gonna be a nice little learning curve to work on actually how this actually does work. But it is a code cutting machine designed to cut keys to code, and whenever we find something out, we'll put it online. Hopefully this video has been interesting or enlightening to you. Give us a thumbs up, share and subscribe, and if you have any information on this machine, please send it to us. It'd be nice to actually give our viewers a bit more information on it. But there you are, the ITL 900 key machine. And that's it. We'll let you know when we have more. Thanks for watching.